Happy Friday. Happy Friday. What's going on out there? How you feeling? Hope you're feeling good, because guess what? I'm feeling good. So we talked a little bit about finance this week, just about as far as, debt, people, what's in your wallet, some of the other celebrities, and we'll also have a special Saturday edition tomorrow talking about one of the Mars twins who's actually going through some financial issues, but we'll show that tomorrow. But are Americans going broke? I remember before Jay-Z had a line said, "It ain't about rich and po, it's about rich and po." So kind of a play on two guys from Harlem who were huge drug lords. But he kind of had a point there. Like, because as we've heard people talk over the years now about the shrinking middle class, and that is to a point where it's basically non-existent. Things are crazy, like interest rates on new cars are ridiculous. I remember back if you had good credit, you can get a car or a car loan, for what, at 1%, 0% financing, 3% maybe. Now, if you have good credit, they're looking more at around 6%, 7%. To finance a car. And then also, I know Nissan had started doing it maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where they started financing cars for at 84 months. 84 months. And for, those of us who could want to do the quick math, at 7 years. So, and I've said this before, most of us don't want to be in a 7-year car note, right? Most people don't keep a car that long. And on top of that, that's a huge commitment to come up with every month where you have to pay for something for that long for every month. So some people may say, well, why would someone do that? Because a lot of times now, because of a market where you have cars that are ridiculously overpriced, where you have used cars that are, even if they have low mileage, cars that are still like 08s, 09s, used cars that, people are selling for ridiculous prices, because you have some people that can't afford to get these car notes. But what happens is that, what people start saying? Forget it. Let me just go ahead and get myself a newer car or a new car, even though I know it's out of my price range and it's ridiculous. I'll just get a new, whatever it is, Toyota, Camry, whatever, because I know at least it will be reliable. So although I'll be paying a crazy note on it probably, at least I know that it's reliable. As opposed to overpaying for a used car that, I'm not sure, it's already 10, 12, 13 years old, and I'm paying this exorbitant amount of money on it. A good thing is that gas, unfortunately, has not risen past the $4 mark all summer. It stayed pretty consistent. I know here on the East Coast in Philly, it stayed consistent at around fluctuating between 3 and 3.15. I think it went down a little bit right before the election and during the election, but for the most part, very, very, very tapered off prices. It hasn't gotten too out of control or ridiculous. But when you start thinking about just overall things that you have to pay for, and I've said this before because I've had this discussion, with a couple of friends, and think about it. 20 years ago, I'll go back a little further. 25 years ago, most people didn't have. Some people still didn't even have cell phones. Some people were still, just using landlines or, whatever. But now everyone has a cell phone. And not only that, because you're giving your kids a phone earlier, the kids need a phone. So that means you need a family plan. So let's take that out of the budget every month. So out of the budget every month, we're coming up with another, with a family plan, maybe another $150, $200 a month. And don't forget, we got cable. So you got to come up with cable every month, which I tried to. It took me a long time. I know. Comcast had me by the neck. It took me a long time. But I'm telling you out there, you can do it. You can get rid of cable. And I'm telling you, you won't feel like you miss too much of a beat most of the time. But cable, it's costing, some people I know are paying almost $300 a month for cable. whether it be Comcast or Verizon. Almost $300 a month for cable. So we got the 300 right there. And even if you don't have a family plan, most of us still need our own cell phone plan. So we'll bring the cable bill down to $200 a month and maybe $100 a month, because I know that's what I pay for two cell phones is $100 a month. So that's around $300 per month on average between just cable and one cell phone in the home. All right. We all know that food has gotten ridiculously high. Food is like, even when I go shopping, because I'm not a coupon cutting kind of guy, I probably should be. They just kind of get me with the, hey, put your 10-digit number in, and it deducts like $4 or something off of a $70 bill. But so I'm not a coupon-y kind of guy, but as we all know that the food is high. So and that's cool for me, because it helped me drop a couple pounds. Don't need to eat as much. So I can taper that down. But when you really start looking around, thinking about it, we had a pandemic back in 2020, and even after that pandemic, we saw things kind of rise, kind of go down a little bit. People were selling off things a little cheaper. But the things that people really needed, like, food, cars, all of that stuff, we've seen go exponentially higher. Even with home mortgage rates, we see those have gotten higher. So there's a lot of things that we need. That's the reason why I brought up the cell phone. I guess we kind of need that, and the cable, which we most likely don't need, but a lot of us want, is because anytime you have things that you need, and they are at a skyrocketed price, society is going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. I think one of the best things they've come out with, if our streets weren't so wild, we were crazy, with a lot of people driving, hey, listen, I'd be down to go back to one of those scooters. Like, I've been looking online. They got a bunch of electric scooters, that you could whip around in if it was just you. Of course, I got kids, so I can't do it. But I'm just saying, I would encourage us people, if you can, get yourself an electric scooter also, because it's definitely not going to cost you as much as ownership of a car. Even speaking of that, car insurance. I switched over car insurance. Car insurance has become ridiculous. It's become ridiculously high. It's become high to the point where it's almost like you cannot live in the city and have insurance. It's all, you need to live in a burb or one of the outside counties or something like that. And it's always been that way, but it has become increasingly ridiculous because of the amount of accidents, I'm assuming the amount of stolen cars, and just the fact, think about this for a minute. You ever seen an insurance company go out of business? When's the last time you heard about that? Have you ever heard about an insurance company going out of business? You don't really hear about it, right? Because most times, and by most studies, insurance companies only pay out about 15, maybe 20% of the time. And even with that, they find ways to not necessarily pay everything out, or pay out at the rate that, maybe a person feels like they should. Car parts are higher. So therefore, that's how they justify raising your premium, because you have to pay more money just in case somebody does hit your car or get into an accident, and you have to pay more money. So there are so many different variables now going into why everything costs so much. And then people are wondering why they are it becomes a struggle. And it really does. It becomes a struggle. And it's a struggle, not just for you, but for a lot of people around you when you feel it with people. People aren't going out to eat as much. Well, at least some people. People aren't having, crazy expenditures like maybe they wanted to get back once upon a time, going to buying a new watch, a Rolex, getting a new car or a newer car, or having a regular car and a sports car, or having a car and an SUV. Just different things to show that, hey, is it a recession going on? Like, what in the world is going on here? Like, why does it feel like things just cost so much money? Have you ever felt like that? Do you feel like Do you sit at home and think to yourself at night like, man, I'm a little worried. I don't know how I'm going to pay this. I'm a little, I'm already behind on one of these bills. I don't know how I'm going to pay this. I don't know what I'm going to do. But when everybody back in 2020 was getting the bigger checks, like even me, I know when I had gotten fired, I was getting $600, I think it was. But I was mad because, first of all, I was mad I got fired. But even when I got fired, I think they passed a law stating, we're not giving $600 supplemental every week. We're only giving $200 or something like that. So I did get the $600 for a couple of weeks of my unemployment. But then after that, I got my regular unemployment. Then the additional, I believe it was $200 at the time. But all of that money has to be paid back. So for anybody running around thinking it's ignorance, oh yeah, Trump gave out all of this money, there was no choice. There was no choice. The money had to be given out because they didn't want people working. They didn't want people on the road except for essential workers, just different things like that. So it was impossible for people to go out because you were not allowed to go out unless you were, quote unquote, an essential worker. Being broke is one of the, especially as a man, and a lot of people can relate to this. When you're a man and you have money, you feel like you're on top of the world. Sometimes you'll just randomly check your bank balance just to do it. And say, oh my God, I'm doing okay right now. Everything is fine. Oh yeah. Don't worry. Drinks on me. Don't worry. But then, when it comes a time where you start looking at that balance, and you're like, ugh, $358.21 for the next 2 weeks. What I'm going to do with that? And it seems like as soon as you get that $358, then you forgot the cell phone bill is due. That's $100. Now we're down to $258. Oh, that's right. I forgot. My car insurance is due. That's another $150. So now we're down to $130 to last us for 2 weeks. And believe me, at times in life, especially before kids, I was able to do it. I was able to work some magic and be able to hold on to $130 for a couple of weeks, especially when I was a younger guy. But I can't even imagine trying to do that now. And as we all get older, we all should get smarter and better with how we manage money. But still, a lot of us aren't good at doing it. Even me, I try to become a better person because typically there's usually three types of people, spenders, savers, and people who, donate money. And usually those who are a little more philanthropic are those who have a few more dollars. But lastly, I want to talk about, because like I said, and you'll hear me in another video say this, is that there's now, in my estimation, a new threat. And the new threat is not really new, but it's old, but it's gambling. It's gambling. And how you can just push a button and you can spend all of the mortgage money, all of the rent money with just a push of a button. And we all know how it is with bank gambling. Sometimes you win, but guess what? Most times you will lose. And it feels like when you lose, you're going to lose at the time when you don't need to lose. So you tell me, how do you feel? Do you feel like, dag, you know what? I always feel like I'm chasing my tail with this money. I always feel like, I haven't saved up enough money. How much do you have saved up in your 401k? Do you even have a 401k? If you don't have a 401k, you should get an IRA, a Roth IRA through your bank or credit union. But think about it. Have Americans gone broke? Or is it just like this thing that we kind of think that we're broke because we can't buy all of the stuff that we used to buy? We can't watch cable as much as we used to watch cable. You tell me, what do you think? You think we're going broke? Or you think we were just spoiled before and we got a lesson that we need to learn? But until next time, Hey, matter of fact, I'll see you tomorrow. Live life. Don't let life live you.